Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Xavier. So Xavier, welcome man.
Hi, Kendrick. Oh, it's actually Xavier. I should have told you.
Xavier?
Xavier.
Xavier? Oh, okay. Okay, so it's pronounced differently.
Yeah.
Xavier. Okay, so Xavier, what is your official type? Can you give us like the full type?
Okay, so I'm double feminine. I can't talk. Double feminine. T-E-N-E. Play, consume, blast, sleep.
Oh, you're sleep last? I thought you were blast last.
Well, I thought I was blast last, but Dave and Shan saw sleep last. Yeah.
Well, no worries. Maybe I got my notes mixed up. But so you are a jumper ESTJ. Um, what did you think and how did you feel when they gave you your typing results back?
Well, I was really excited. I kept refreshing my email like every 5 minutes, trying to see when they emailed me. When I finally got it, I was, well, one, it was shocking because I never would have thought I was an ESTJ. I'm really not. I'm an ESTJ jumper, which is probably way different. Um, but like, I never even like considered that type. So that was kind of surprising. But I was thinking about it, and it makes sense because I did think I was on the SINE axis and the TEFI axis, but the tribe kind of changed my mind because everyone saw me doing SE, and a lot of people saw me doing FE, but I really didn't think I was FE because that just felt, people who are like Xavier FE, they just seem like they care way more about like feelings and etiquette and things that I don't necessarily align with. So
So, because you're a jumper, you are a chaotic EJEP. And even like before the interview started, you were like scrambling to get like a meal in, which is good because then that clearly shows that you are like a chaotic EJEP, right? Like you wouldn't be a jumper ESTJ if you if you didn't do all that.
yeah. Yeah, I completely forgot about this interview, and then my computer went blah, 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 and I was like, what's that? And I saw 15 minutes Kendrick interview, and I'm like, oh my God.
And then so you're also double feminine, so you have feminine SI, so your memory is gonna be quite you know you're gonna be quite forgetful when it comes to details. So let's start with that. What's your feminine SI? What's your feminine SI like?
In a nutshell, I'm not very confident when, like, if someone asks me a question about a fact, like, for example, I'm in nursing school and someone's like, how long does it take for this drug to take effect? And I'm like, I think it's 2 hours. Like I'm not really certain, even though like that's what I remember. I remember it being 2 hours, but I don't feel like super confident about it. So it
Right.
comes off as me not being very confident. And I've had lots of supervisors and stuff have told me that like I don't come off as confident, and that's something I need to work on.
Besides the feminine SI, would you say the not coming across as very confident, do you think that's also because of being an EJ? You know, they said that EJs have trouble with self-confidence. Would you say that's about accurate?
Yeah, maybe because I worry about what people think of me. Yeah, like I care about what people think, and that's always been a big struggle of mine. Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately.
Well, at least you're aware of it. Do you think that you're better at that awareness of that because you have masculine FI, even though it's fourth? Do you think that helps with the awareness side of things?
Um, yeah, I could be, well, so you're asking if my masculine FI helps what? What was your question?
Does it help you with self-awareness because you are aware that you have that feeling that other people's
Mm,
opinion is very important to you, and you're quite aware of it because even though it's fourth, it's still masculine. So it's going to be kind of like having that, like it's almost like flashing in your face, right? Like it's like
no.
so do you Do you agree with that statement, or do you resonate with that?
Yeah, like aren't you supposed you're supposed to be fascinated by your demons. So like all my life I've always been trying to figure out who I am. That's kind of how I got into like typology too, is like figuring out who I am and like doing the tests, and like sometimes the tests would be different results, and then I really wanted to figure it out, like which type I was. And um I don't know, because there's just a sense of comfort of being like I'm this type. And it's like I finally know who I am. And I felt this that way with getting my results from Dave and Shan. Like I actually feel a lot more confident, and like I feel more like I could accomplish so much more just by knowing my type, because I know where I need to work on, and I know like where my strengths are, and I could play by those strengths. So I'm happy. I'm happy by the results.
Yeah, man. I think having that roadmap really helps. Like because if you don't know what your type is, then you don't know what to work on, right? But now it's like, oh, okay, I need to work on my FI. Sweet. Now I can just like double down on this. Um,
Yes, exactly. I know how to work on my FI and SI.
so what are some bucket list things that you have in your life, like some FI bucket list, like things that you want to, like do in your life?
FI bucket list? Oh, I always wanted to write a book.
There you go.
Like
Okay.
I always wanted to. But then it's all that EJ, like, am I good enough? What would people think of it? What like if I wrote a book and it had people in my life that were in it, like how would they feel reading about it and me talking about them? Like that's a struggle.
I think if it was like an EP or like an IJ, they wouldn't like care too much. Like I mean they would like to read your book, but they wouldn't like think negatively of you. But like, oh, it depends if they're a double desire or double observer, I guess, at the end of the day. Um,
Yeah.
since you brought that up, I'm kind of interested to hear. What's kind of been your life like being a single decider? Like with that strong focus with the tribe, like pleasing the tribe, doing things for the tribe, and then having that like
Yeah.
neglect for self. Like, what has been your experience like with that?
Well, I want to say the number one pro is I really care about people. Like because I care about how people think, like what people think of me, or even how people feel. Like there's a lot of FE in there. Um, I'm not sure how that works, but like wait, I lost my train of thought. Like I care a lot about people, that I want to do a good job, like pleasing them and helping them, because like then that makes, I don't know, I guess that's just my wiring. And I feel like that's beneficial because a lot of people end up liking me. That sounds weird, but like a lot of people feel good about me caring about them and considering them. So that's a big benefit. But then the downside is caring too much. So if I get hatred from people, like it really gets me down. It makes me feel bad about myself, that I did the wrong thing, I said the wrong thing. And then I just had to learn in life, like you can't please everyone. But then even still, like whenever it happens and someone's mad at me because of something I did, like I just get really down about it, and I have to try to like hide it, and like try to like pretend I'm not, it isn't affecting me, but like deep down inside it's really affecting me.
I think that's amazing with your masculine FI. Like you can see all this like deep self awareness, like happening. Um, do you think it's because you have that masculine NE? You can see like the patterns of what's happening. You also have Savior Consume, right? And you have. Do you think that Savior Consume is also helping you, like gathering people's feelings? Like NE, gathering, and then the FI kind of like seeing how they feel. Like, do you feel that is helping you in any way?
I never thought about that. So you said that I'm seeing patterns. I don't know, I guess I just don't think of it that way. Like for me, my any, it's like possibilities and being like like if I'm trying to figure people out, like why are they mad at me? It's like, well, maybe it's this or maybe it's this, and like not knowing why they're, you know what I mean? Like, or like, oh, maybe that person was mad at me because they had a bad day, or maybe, you know, someone yelled at them earlier and now they're taking it out on me. And like, in a way, it's kind of like double deciding, because it's like I can see why they might be mad, but then I don't know, not, I can't always do that though. I'm not making sense.
No, you are. I don't know if it's double deciding. I think you're aware of the tribe perspective. It's like your perspective that is kind of like that's missing, right? Because you have FI last, right? But you do have masculine FI, and you do have double masculine consume, which is also very interesting. Um,
Yeah, I do. I don't
so,
even know what that means. Double masculine consume.
well, that would make it your NF. So, like, you know, what has your experience like with being NF? You know, talking about NF topics, or because your NF is double masculine, right? So that's quite interesting. What
Yeah.
double masculine NF is, you know. Do you feel like when people start talking about, you know, NF topics like personal development or, um, you know, energies or, you know, emotions in the abstract world, do you feel like you really resonate with that kind of stuff? Like you really get
Oh,
sucked
yeah,
in?
absolutely. Yeah, like I love learning like meditation I'm really into. And like I kind of like was interested in everything like astrology, chakras, different religions, like learning about different philosophers. Um, yeah, just like exploring different belief systems and um to try to find like my path, you know, like because I don't really believe like, oh, I should just follow this one religion and follow that and that's it. Like I would be like, I'll take from different ideas, like ideologies from different ones, because what resonates with me, you know, like, and like I kind of feel like everyone should do that. Like everyone should like find their own path. They shouldn't just do whatever like religion told them to. Like they should figure out what is right to them. So I don't
Wow,
know.
that's very EP, man. That's awesome. Like, you know, like having options and like gathering different concepts and different ideologies and I think it's also good like with your FI. Sounds like your FI you're really doing some really well at like working on it because you're trying to pick what you like, right? Like okay, I like this part of this ideology, this part of this religion, you know, you know. So you're kind of picking what is like best for you, you know?
Yeah, it that's what yeah, I guess I'm fascinated by that, like finding out who I am, finding out my beliefs.
Yeah.
I've always like thought like it would be really cool if I created my own religion, which sounds kind of
Yeah.
cultish, but like gathering all this, like, and then figuring out what works for me or what feels right to me, and like maybe like documenting all my beliefs and then sharing it, and then maybe other people it could resonate with and like help them in some way. And like on my Facebook page sometimes I'll like put out Zavisms, which are like truths that I've discovered, that I just share with people. And I don't know, I like that.
Okay, so that's where your like NF side is coming. Your double masculine NF. Um, it's funny you mentioned that because I've had like a similar thought, not like starting my own religion, but like starting my own country, you know. And I was kind of
Go
like,
ahead. Yeah.
yeah, and I would picture what like the political system would be like, and like, you know,
Oh.
and like I you know, so I don't know if that's like an NETE kind of thing because we both have NETE, you know. But you know, different orders. Obviously, yours is TNE, but same idea. But yeah, I've thought about that. It's like, what would like if I started my own country? You know, like I'll make it like what I was thinking is like, okay, um, so I was born in a country called Philippines,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, I'm Chinese though, but I was born there, and and it's like a super corrupt country, right? But like
Wow.
right now they have a president, Duterte. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's quite like a polarizing figure because he's quite violent. But
Yeah, like military, right? Kind of.
yes, so that's like the bad side. So the media is always like in the Western side of the world, they're always painting him as like this bad guy who's very authoritarian, that's kind of like killing people, you know.
Yeah.
But if you go to Philippines, the opinion of him is completely different. They love him. They absolutely love him there.
Wow.
And I actually think he's the best president the Philippines has ever had. That's you know, and you know, I get like when I talk to Westerners about it, they all get really upset, right? But they only see it from their lens. They don't see it from like the locals' lens, right?
I
So
love that.
some of the things that he's done was that he first of all he doubled the salary of the police. So before the police would extort bribes from the citizens, right? But now they don't have to because their salary was doubled, right?
That
I'm
makes sense.
trying to implement free college and university to give the locals more opportunity because if they're educated, then they can get a better job, they can earn more money.
Right.
Right. So he's working on the infrastructure because there's really horrible traffic there, and he's building a lot of like super highways now. They're trying to build a bullet train right now in the Philippines. So he's really like cleaned up the country. Now, you know, people go out there like I feel safe when I go out. I don't feel like someone's gonna kidnap me or, you know, like rob me.
That's good.
Point like there's still crime, but it's kind of like dwindled down from like, you know, kidnapping, murder, and all that stuff to like petty theft. So it's you know quite an upgrade. So like when I was thinking, I was like, okay, if I start my own country, I would probably like make sure that public service workers get paid really well because I think corruption only happens when like people are when they have to, you know, let's say to make ends meet you need like let's say $100, let's say $100, right? But then you're only getting paid 75, then you're gonna have to take the 25 for somewhere else, and you're gonna do that through corruption, right? So you don't need to be corrupt if you're getting paid properly, right? I mean that's what I was thinking. So
Interesting. Do you know what type he is, the president there?
you know what? I don't know what type he is, but he comes across as an IJ because he's very controlling, right? Like he's very like authoritative. Uh, and he's if you look at like his focus, it's not people, it's things, right? He has like things problem, you know, like drugs, war on drugs, right? It's like
Oh.
you know, because he's not saying like, oh, you know, that racial group is bad or like that religious group is bad. You know, it's not like people.
Uh-huh.
It's like war on drugs. Drugs is killing our country. You know, we need to control the drugs. You know, like his method is control, right? Like control. That's his savior, right? Let's control the drug problem. You know, let's control. You know.
Right, right. I wonder if he's like TI because it sounds like he decides very logically of like how to solve the problems.
Well, I don't know if it's TI or TE, but it's definitely masculine T. It's definitely masculine T. There's definitely zero SF that he's doing. Um, I would even I would say it's probably TE to be honest, because
Oh.
I don't see any FE. There's no like, because if there was any FE, he would try to make people feel better, but he's not, right. He's just like, this is what we're gonna do. This is what's gonna work for everyone. You know, it's like
Ah, okay. Interesting, interesting.
that's just my perspective. But I definitely think he's some sort of IJ, maybe like an INTJ or ISTJ. So, um, yeah, I would probably narrow it down to those two, like if I had to guess. Again, I don't know what type he is, but that's just like my guess.
Right. Well, does he have a mustache? Because if he does, he's an ISTJ.
I'm not sure
I'm
yet.
just kidding.
Do all ISTJs have mustaches? It's not like
Like, wait, isn't Sully an ISTJ? Or no, he was I forget. Feminine sensory.
yeah, it's all good, man. So, where were we? Oh yeah, since we were in that topic, since you're an EJ, you're gonna have people problems, right? What is the what would you say is the people problem for you as an EJ? Like your own personal people problem. What is it for you?
Like number one problem
Yeah,
with people?
yeah. What is your number one people problem? Would you say?
Um, Probably like right now in my life, my number one people problem is people being angry at me. I don't deal with anger very well. No, not at all.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
Like I want to just like not have it affect me, you know, and not take it personally, but it's so hard.
do you think being double feminine also affects that? Because I did an interview with, some double feminine INTJs, and when they see Dave swearing like a sailor, they get really like hurt by it, right? So I'm like thinking, is that like a double feminine thing? Like you don't want like that aggression, like
Yeah, I don't like aggression. There's actually a couple classes. Um, I forget their names. Well, like one of them was like I think David Goggins, and then another one is similar to my type. I forget his name. He's like he was in jail and he's like
oh,
really aggressive. Um,
Wes Watson or something.
Wes Watson. Yeah, like I think Shan told me or Dave told me to watch some Dave Goggins once, and then Shan told me to watch Wes Watson. And I have such a hard time watching their videos because they're so angry, or they come off as angry to me. Maybe other people don't think they're angry. And yeah, it's really hard to watch, and it makes me kind of like tense up and cringe a little bit. I don't know. I don't understand how Dave and Shan like could watch them every day. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
I personally don't resonate with David Goggins. Like when I try to watch his stuff, I'm like, "Ah, I don't resonate with this. Wes Watson, I find him entertaining. So like when I hear him going on that rage, I don't feel like cringy. I just feel like, wow, this is kind of interesting. Like he's
Uh,
going nuts, like
yeah.
he's so aggressive.
Yeah, it's like the teacher from Daria that keeps yelling and his eye keeps bulging and like he's developing an aneurysm. It's
Yeah.
just that. Oh.
Well, my next question to you is you're a double observer, so you're balanced with gathering and organizing and control and chaos. So talk about that, being balanced with control and chaos and organizing and gathering. I'm really curious to see what your experience is with that. That's your superpower essentially, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like if I get a flat tire, it's not the end of the world. Like I just figure it out. Or if like my car died, I mean, it sucks, but like I guess I kind of even enjoy sometimes problems happening because I get to problem solve, and that's like one of my favorite things to do. Not
Right.
that I want problems to happen, but like it I guess it's like just a superpower of mine that I like to problem solve. So I guess that has something to do with it. And like I really like the show like The Amazing Race,
Yeah.
where it's like a lot of chaos happens and they have to like think on their feet and stuff. And like I would love to be on that show because like trying to figure out where they have to go, and like maybe like the bridge collapsed and then they have to figure out another way, and like
Yeah.
I would love that, you know.
Yeah, you're probably so good at it. Like I think if I was in the same contest as you, the only way I would beat you is like throw some people problems along your way to like, to like
Yeah.
the tracks. Because there's no way I'm gonna beat you with the organizing and gathering side of things.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, like some people play like the people game and like getting people on their side and manipulating them,
Yeah,
and that is great. That like that's something I could never do, but like that's a great way to win.
yeah. Because there's no way I'm gonna beat you if it's just like a straight up like gathering and organizing. Like, yeah. But so like 2 days ago, I was on a road trip, and I did a road trip this past week, this last 7 days, just in my province in Canada. And 2 days ago, my car engine is absolutely dead. Like I was in the middle of driving and it just died. Pulled over
Aw.
the road. Went to a. Luckily, it died 15 minutes away from a small town, so I managed to get it towed there. And then when they pretty much told me your car it's finished. Like you can repair it, but we don't recommend it. It's just finished because it's too old and it's finished. And I was so depressed. It like hit me hard. It was like the worst, like feeling, because I'm an EP, so I have things problem, right? But then for you, when you said earlier, if I have a flat tire, it's not the end of the world. I'll fix it. I'll figure it out, you know. So
Right, right. The only thing I want to add though is I can be really weird about like my intuition. Like I might think that something bad might happen, and then like I'll get really weird about that, which sounds like single observing. Like I'm trying to think of an example. I can't though. God damn it. I wish I had masculine sensory.
Yeah.
Uh, um, oh, I'm terrible at this. But like, I'll just get in my head that, like, especially if it's in my SI, like something bad happened to me before, I'll feel like it's gonna happen again. So
Oh,
then, like, I'll try to prepare for it. Because that's like, so for example, say this didn't actually happen, but like, so say like I was hiking in the woods and then there was a woman giving birth to a baby, and
yeah.
like not being prepared for that.
Yeah.
And then like if that happened to me, it's like, okay, I'm gonna bring like things with me in case that ever happened again. Like that sounds so bizarre, but like something like that.
So basically, what I'm getting from you is whenever something chaotic has happened in the past, you would remember it, and you would always be prepared for any given situation. So for example, if it's a hiking,
Yes.
if you're hiking, then whatever problem you had in the past from hiking, you're gonna cover all those bases the next time you go hiking. Like
Right. Yeah. Like if I got attacked by a bunch of flies, I would like wear more layers or something. Yeah. Like I always like adapt and remember and like, because I don't want it to happen again, basically.
that's so good, man. Man, you know what, man? Thanks for that because I have like I'm so dumb when it comes to this. Like I have the same functions as you. I don't even think about this stuff. Like it, I mean, I do, but it's very rudimentary compared to like how fluid you just kind of explain that. You know, like you know, honestly, man, I thought I was already prepared on my road trip because before the road trip happened, I actually got an oil change, and I think my engine died because they said that there was no oil left in the car.
Oh,
But
wow.
what I didn't know was that when you're driving really quickly, like really fast, I was driving for 8 hours straight, and there's a heat wave here right now. That
Oh, right.
it burned
Totally.
all the oil, right? And I didn't even know that it's possible for that to happen. So, like
Wow.
using your system, you know, the Xavier system. Next time I go on a road trip, I bring oil, bring oil with me, so that you know my car won't
Yeah.
die, and I get like that like observer freak out.
Yeah. I always, whenever I'm traveling somewhere, I always overpack. Like people are like, why did you bring all this stuff? And I think that's why. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll need it. Because I needed it before and I didn't have it, you know.
Did you find that like by overpacking that it actually has come and saved you in the past? Like it did come in handy. Like
Oh, it's great. Like if I'm like, so say I'm doing something with friends and I packed the water, I packed the sunscreen, I packed all like I snacks, and
yeah,
then so like if we're going out and about and it's hot, we got the water, we got the sunscreen, you know, we're hungry and there was no food open, like, and it's great. I love it. And then with the tribe, like if no one else has those things, like I feel like I'm saving the day,
yeah.
which is it's literally my state. Yeah. Yeah. So
You- You're
that's
you're saving your EP and IJ friends.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, because your EP friends did not even prepare to begin with. They have like nothing because they didn't organize anything. And
Maybe.
your
Yeah.
other friends, they over prepared, but completely for the wrong thing because they didn't gather first what chaos is coming, right? They have no clue what the chaos is. So they did prepare, but not for like the right problem, right? But then that's you. You have the superpower, right? So you have like the masculine enemy. You're like, okay, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen. So let's go organize all the stuff that we need for this. So, you
You
know,
make it sound so good. That's awesome. Thank you, Kendrick.
it is good because like I mean, for you it's like normal. You're like, don't everyone do this? I'm like, no, 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 we don't. Like us EPs and the IJs, we're idiots when it comes to this. You know, the IJs, like I said, they're not going to prepare for this. I mean, they're going to prepare, but not for the right thing because they didn't consume or gather. And the EPs are like, whatever, you know.
Wow, I feel like going on a road trip is a good way to type someone.
Yeah, yeah, that would be like a good way to type someone. Yeah, but do you like to go on? Do you like to travel then? As a like, because you're like a jumper EJ, would you say?
I do like to travel a lot. The only thing is I don't do it very often because I don't really like spending money. And like I always think like I need to save it in case I might need it.
Yeah.
Because like, I guess you can do like little trips that are cheaper, but like if I wanted to go somewhere far, you have to stay at like hotel and it costs money. And so I love doing it, but I just don't like spending the money.
Well, let's talk about that because, like as an EP, like for the longest time, money was my biggest problem, right? Uh, it was only this year, like back in March, where I paid off all my debt. Like I'm debt free now, which I
Oh,
was like, oh,
congratulations.
thank you. And I had a coaching call with Dave, right? So I told Dave, I'm like, Dave, you know, I avoided the worst SI tidal wave. Like instead of like instead of like spending my money, I actually paid off all my debt. I focused in it. I hated my life because I couldn't buy the stuff that I wanted to buy. But
Wow.
I controlled myself. Like, no, Kendrick, this money thing is gonna control you if you don't get a handle of it. So you need to control it. You need to save your money. Go pay your debt first. Build some savings. And right when I paid off my debt, the pandemic happened, right? And like I was furloughed, but like I was like, I have no debt, I'm debt,
Yeah.
I'm debt free. I'm like, I just avoided the biggest tidal wave that an EP could have, right? You
Did
know,
it feel like a weight was lifted off of you
my
when
my
you
girl my girlfriend actually told me, it's like you are walking lighter. You're lighter. Like your attitude, your demeanor is lighter. Everything's lighter about you. That you paid off your debt and you avoided this like big catastrophe that could happen. I was like, oh my god, this op thing is magic. Like you just have to like no, seriously, like if you just work on your FI, like just like the way I work on my SI, oh my god, like this kind of stuff happens. The tidal wave comes. There's no the tidal. You completely avoid it. There's no tidal wave, you know, and you feel great. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah, I have a lot of student loan debt, so it'll be nice when it's all paid off. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
but that's not your life problem. Like yours is FI, right? So if you just like practice it like a little bit every day, kind of like the way I practice my like for
Yeah.
me, I try to save money every time I get a paycheck. So for you, it's like doing things that you like, here and there, like just for you. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it is that is for you. Like, 'cause you have to make deposits to yourself, right? So for me, I have to make like physical money deposits, but for you, it's like me time deposits that you're gonna.
Oh, oh yeah, I totally discovered that too. Um, because lately, well, not with the pandemic, but before that, I would do things by myself a lot. Like because I would always like before like call friends like, "Hey, are you free? No one's free. Oh, that stinks. This sucks." And but then I was like, you know what? I'm done asking people if they want to hang out, and I'm just gonna go and hang out by myself and enjoy myself. And I would go to the movies by myself. I would go out to dinner by myself. Um, I would go just basically doing everything by myself, going bike rides by myself, jogging, sitting in the park, going to the waterfront by myself. And like that was for me. And like before I was kind of like afraid, like what would that person think of me sitting in the restaurant by myself, or like it's so weird to go to the movies by yourself. People don't do that. But then I just enjoy it. And like I want to see this movie, and then I don't have to be like have to see the movie they want to see just because the tribe wants, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah.
So how did you feel when you started doing all that stuff? Because one of the questions I always ask people typically when I interview EJs is like, have you ever gone out to dinner in a restaurant by yourself? And like it's almost been like most of them has been no. And the ones that have said yes to me, it was by accident. Like, you know, uh, so how did you feel when you started doing all this stuff for yourself? Like, taking yourself out for a movie or dinner?
Yeah, I would say like the first, it just takes practice. Like the first few times you do it, like it's nerve wracking, because you're thinking about like everyone's looking at me, like they're judging me, which is completely like false. Like that's just the wiring telling you that, like probably no one gives a shit. Although there might always be that one or two people, but like you kind of just have to like that's their problem, you know? Like it's like you know what I mean? Like they probably like are bitter about everyone and everything. So don't try not to let it bother you. And yeah, so after practice, it just is, it feels good actually. And like I've encouraged other people to do it. Like go to the movies by yourself or go out to eat by yourself. Like you're allowed to do that.
What I'm curious though, like what is an FI tidal wave? Like what is that? Like because I'm not quite sure what is it is like. So would you mind sharing your experience? Like what is like a big FI tidal wave that you've had in the past? Because I have no clue what that like what that looks like.
um, you know what? I don't even really understand what a tidal wave is. So it's like when you only use your savior and then it takes you by surprise. Is that the definition?
Well, I feel like because I'm an EPEJ, I'm like we're the same essentially, just a little bit different. But when I was 18, I used to work. My first job was Burger King, right? I used to work at Burger King, and I really liked doing cashier and drive-through, but I didn't have the courage to like tell my managers and supervisors that that's the position I wanted to do. So they would put me in the kitchen. I would feel really resentful that they wouldn't put me in the drive-through or the cashier role, because that's actually what I wanted to do, and I was really good at it too. I was really fast. Like my time, we have a 3 minute turnaround time that is kind of like our quota in Burger King. Like if you're working drive-through, you need to be able to get the food out in 3 minutes, right? Per order. But I can do it in 2 minutes, right? So I was really quick at it, and I had good customer service. But I didn't feel I felt like I needed the tribe permission to do it. Like I wasn't gonna go up to them and be like, hey, can I do the drive-through today? So instead, I would wait for them to like say, hey, Kendrick, do you want to do a drive-through? And even when they would say, Kendrick, do you want to do a drive-through? There's like a piece of me that's kind of guilty that like I'm doing the thing that I want to do. So I would just say, oh no, whoever wants to do it can do it, right? So I'll just like just let the tribe decide, you know. And sometimes I'm lucky they'll give me that position, but sometimes usually I won't get lucky. They'll stick me to the kitchen and I have to go fry some fries and some chicken burgers, and so like I had like this built up of resentment and self like just kind of like low self confidence because I didn't stand up for what I wanted to do. I didn't like speak up about it. So and this happened to be in my 20s. I got over this in my late 20s. In my late 20s, that's when I started speaking up more, and my reaction from people has been completely different when I did that. Like it's like I got into hiking in my late 20s, and then no one wanted to go hiking, so I'm like, screw it, I'll just do it myself. Kind of like what you with the restaurant stuff. And then in my early 30s, it's kind of like with travel. I'm like, you know what? No one wants to travel. I'll freaking go to the country by myself. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I still remember the feeling of like that low confidence because I never spoke up about what I wanted, and I always felt horrible that I never spoke up about what I wanted. But when I started speaking about what I wanted, I've always had this like massive relief. Like I was like, oh, I'm so glad I voiced what I wanted. I voiced it. I said it to the tribe and they said it.
Oh, is FI your demon?
It's
Or
my it's my demon, but it's not as bad as yours. Yours is fourth, right?
oh, okay.
So I have demon FI. I'm play blast, right? Consume sleep. So I have demon FI.
Okay.
Jumper ENFP. So I'm kind of wondering, have you ever experienced anything that I kind of just explained, but like in a different scenario? Like, you wanted to do something, but you couldn't voice it to the tribe. And
Oh yeah, yeah, all the time. Like asking for a promotion, that would be like the hardest thing in the world. Or asking for a raise, I mean.
yeah,
Um, yeah, like I would be like, I don't deserve it. If they don't think if they thought I deserved a raise, they would have given me a raise. Like, who am I to say like to ask for a raise? Which
yeah,
that sounds so silly. But there's that, and that those demon feelings, like they just come out of nowhere. Like I watched La La Land, and the ending, without trying to spoil it, but it's a very sad ending. And I just left. I was in the parking lot. I was like sobbing for 10 minutes. unfortunately, because I was thinking about like my own past relationships, because I'm sleep last, so like I don't like to think about the bad things that have happened. I like to try to move on or give reasons to it, you know, like, oh, you know, like, well, there was a reason for that. And but like when I dive into the feelings that surface like out of no from like movies and things or conversations, it comes out of nowhere, I guess.
Wow, man, that's a thanks for sharing that. Since you're on the topic of sleep last, I want to ask you more about this because we both have sleep last, right? Um, so like one of the things I realized this year, just during the pandemic, because like the world has been kind of put into sleep mode now, so we have more time to
Yeah,
process
I
our.
love that. I think that's great. I mean, it's terrible that it happened. I should clarify, but there is some positives with being able to work on yourself and process.
One of the biggest things I've been practicing this year because of the forced sleep last was setting boundaries to other people. I noticed that people with sleep last, they don't set boundaries very well. Like I've interviewed a bunch of people with sleep last, and setting boundaries with the tribe has been like the not even EJ. It could be it could even be an IP. But the sleep last thing is like setting boundaries with the tribe. Like let's say the tribe is hurting you, you know, uh, they're being toxic to you, and you're aware of it. But because you have the sleep class, you can't just be like, nope, I'm not gonna spend time with this person anymore, or not gonna hang out with this person anymore, because they're
Mm-hmm.
toxic for me. Um, so this year I've been practicing on it. I have double masculine sleep, which is horrible because like when I cut people off, it's very aggressive, right? It's very aggressive. It's really mean and aggressive. Like people get hit really hard when it comes out, right? Yours is not double masculine. Yours is like more in the middle, right? It's like masculine, feminine, or something like that. Um, what has your experience been like when it comes to setting boundaries with other people? Let's say someone's hurting you. It's now a toxic relationship, and what has your experience been like with setting boundaries? Is that something that you still struggle with? Saying no to people, for example.
Oh yeah, definitely. I did have problems saying no. One of my bosses, he told me that I did, and he told me like I need to like say no. Like I can't take on too much, because like so say like at my job, my previous job, he, my one boss would be like, okay, I want you to do this project, and then like a couple days later, I need you to do this project. I need you to do this project. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. And then he's like, why isn't this project done? And I'm like, well, I was working on the other two that you told me. And then he's like, well, if you couldn't do it, why didn't you just say no? Like, just say no that you couldn't do it. And like, so because he gave me permission to say no, like I felt allowed to be able to say no to people, which is interesting. And yeah, what else did you say? Sorry.
I mean, well, do you
Oh,
setting boundaries with people? Like, let's say someone is like, let's say you're in a relationship, or even with family or friends, and that relationship has now become toxic. Like that person makes you feel bad pretty much every time you spend time with them, or even not. They just don't respect your time, essentially.
yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
so my question to you is, what has your experience been like using that sleep to like set boundaries so that that they don't.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely been hurt by family and friends in the past, and I guess like yeah, I always want to get along and harmony and working things out, but like I don't really like conflict and talking about it. Like I don't like talking about my feelings. Like what you said really hurt me. Like I'm really bad at stuff like that. Like maybe I'll like just like avoid them, you know, which is maybe unhealthy. Like it's better to talk about things. Um and if it really bothers me, I'll just avoid them. Like so say if it's a roommate it's not working out well, instead of like talking to them, I would just like find a new apartment. Or like one time like I applied to internship and moved to Florida because because I wanted to get away from my roommate. So like extreme measures sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. But like boundaries, yeah. I dated this one guy and he was really good about setting boundaries. He was like very aggressive about it. I think he was FM, so masculine DE. Um, so he was very quick to push on people about his boundaries. And I guess from him, I kind of learned that, not to the extreme that he did, but I learned like certain things are not okay, certain things are not acceptable, and like letting them know those things aren't acceptable, and then if they're a good friend, they would realize, and then they would change. And if they're not willing, then I guess it's good that they're not in my life then.
They said that double observers have problems with pain and double deciders have problems with fear. Would you say one of the reasons why you took those extreme measures when you, let's say, try to avoid your roommate and you try to, move to a different state or something, would you say it's a way for you to avoid pain of like having to deal with those people instead of like, voicing to them how you felt, kind of like you said, like it's easier for you to just avoid versus like to actually tell them how you feel about the situation?
Yeah, because if they're the way they treat me, like it could be very painful, right? Like doesn't I guess maybe other people don't feel that, huh?
Well, that's not true. Everyone feels that way.
Okay.
Like for me, when I voice how I feel, like, having a difficult emotional talk with someone is very hard, right?
Right.
The first few times I did it, it was really awkward. I felt like out of place. I felt like, I should just keep it to myself. But like the first few times I did it, it was definitely difficult. Like the first time, because I moved out of my home 3 times now. The first time I moved out, it was because I wanted to kind of like you, like kind of just wanted to get away from my mom. Just get away from her because she was toxic. So she went to Vegas, and when she went to Vegas, that's when I moved out. And she came home, I was gone, right? So the first time I moved out, it was out of avoidance, essentially, kind of like what you were talking about earlier, right? Conflict avoidance. But then I moved back in eventually, and then the second time I moved out, it was out of anger. Like I lashed out on her, so it was like complete opposite, right? Instead of avoidance, it was complete anger, right?
Wow.
Now the third time because I moved back in eventually, and the third time I moved back out, it was different though. It was like I think I actually told my mom, like I moved out those two times because I didn't like you. I actually told her that, right? And then I actually told her how I felt, like her as like being a bad mom, and my mom started crying when I said that, And my mom's the type that will never apologize to me. She actually apologized to me. I was like taken aback, right? So the third time I moved out, I felt like I did it the right way. Like there was no anger, there was no like, conflict avoidance. It was just like, hey, I'm gonna move out, and that's it. I'll visit sometimes, but like I'm just gonna move out. And I just said it calmly. There's no like anger and I don't know, man. It was weird. It was weird. It was weird to do it. It was like it felt, but it took like this happened within a 6-year time span, right? 6 or 7 year time span. It didn't happen overnight, right? But I practiced it because I have demon FI like you, right? Yours is fort, mine is like, mine's just a demon, right? So, but I kind of like I'm still a double-sider, so eventually I'm gonna figure it out, right? So, but like even like with like my like siblings too, right? Sometimes my sisters would make me feel bad, right? And this past 2 years, I've been actually telling them exactly how I feel, right? Like you said, this made me feel like this, right? But it took me like, because I have sleep fast like you, it almost takes me like a year to kind of figure out like the exact feeling that like they inflicted on me,
Yeah.
But then
It
once I
takes me
figured,
a year too. Yeah.
yeah, but like once I found out the exact word, then I can go back and like tell them what that like the exact feeling that like they inflicted on me, right? And I'm not looking for an apology. I just want to voice it, right? It's like, so uh,
Yeah.
so it's definitely been tough. So I can't imagine how bad it is for you because yours is fort, right? Like mine's a demon, but it's not fort, right? So I feel for you, man. It's tough. It's tough for sure. Um,
Oh, interesting. So we have the same saviors. They're just flipped, huh? They're
yeah,
just, huh?
well, I'm blast savior. I'm
Yeah.
completely blast, you're play consume. But like we have the same functions. We both
Yeah.
have we both have masculine FI. We both have feminine TE. So we both get bulldozed by the tribe, which sucks.
Yeah.
You know. But
Interesting. It's interesting. There's a lot of similarities to what you say that I've felt those things too. Yeah.
yeah,
Huh.
and we both have sleep blast too. So it's kind of like it's gonna be like this very similar problems that we're gonna have. You know.
Yeah, you're just more chatty. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a plate blast crackhead, right? So
Yeah.
with that being said, you consume sleep. So you get like oh no, sorry, no, you're not. So you're
Play
pretty
and
calm, you're pretty
consume.
calm then. You're pretty calm because you're extrovert, introvert, extrovert, introvert, right? Like you're
Yeah.
yeah.
I can be pretty introverted. Yeah. Around new people, I might not talk very much, especially people I don't trust. I might not say anything. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you now when it comes to socializing and working. So what I notice is that people with the TIFE axis, for them, socializing is not personal. They'll hang out with just about anybody. You know,
Mm.
they'll even take you up for lunch first before they go to work. And one of the reasons why they do that is because the work side is personal. I noticed that people with a TIFE axis, if they don't trust you to do well at work, they will not work with just about anybody. Usually, they will only work with someone after they've had lunch or dinner with them. They get to know you, know your competencies, or if someone referred someone to them. But they would never go out of their way to like hire someone to do work for them. You know, like they're not gonna hire like a random person. You know, they usually have to follow like a referral system, right? Or like someone they met in like a lunch or dinner. But I noticed with the TFI axis, it's opposite. So the FI side, like the socializing side, that's personal. Like you're not gonna hang out with just about anybody on your personal time. Like when it comes to grabbing dinner, going for a movie, inviting them over to your place to go hang out and stuff.
Right.
But for
Right. Or even like who's a Facebook friend. Like I'm very selective of who's on that list.
exactly. But when it comes to work, oh, who cares? I'll work with anybody. Who cares? It's not a big deal. It's work is work. It's not personal. So do you resonate with that? Like where work is like it's not personal. Who cares? I'll work with anybody. But like when it comes to your personal side, socializing side, it's not like okay, you're picky with who you spend time with.
Would I work with anyone? I mean, you don't really have a choice, right? Unless I was like the boss. But yeah, I guess as long as people are respectful, that's number one. Like as long as we could respect each other, then that's all that matters. It's just when people are being disrespectful that I don't like being around them. I'll still work with them, but I just don't want to talk to them. I don't know.
So there you go. So you'll work with them, but you won't socialize with them. Exactly.
Yeah. It's work. It's yeah.
See
Yeah.
how that goes.
If they were like, "Oh, I'm having a get together," I'd be like, "Oh, I have plans."
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. You got it. Like, see, you even did it at work. You didn't want to talk to them at work. You didn't want to socialize with them, right? Like you know.
That's funny. I think you found a new coin or a new way to figure out that coin.
Yeah, because I think if you had FETI, even if they don't like you, they'll still chat with you and socialize with you at work. But they won't do the work with you, right? When it comes to the actual work, they'll find someone else to do the work with them.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's funny. But respect is number one. I feel like that people, as long as they respect each other, then work is fine.
My next question for you is tester visual. So, as a tester, do you like to experiment with different stuff? Like, are you like an experimenter at heart?
I don't even know what that tester means. Experiment with what? I don't understand.
So I forgot who I was interviewing, but someone said this. I interviewed a double feminine person once. I forgot what type they were, but when they go to a restaurant, they like to try all the different sauces. For example, they
Like, can I taste them?
Yeah,
Like,
like they'll try
yeah.
all different dips, right? Like for me, I'm like, I know I like the sweet and sour. I'm not gonna even try the other one.
Like, okay, for example, if I go to a Mexican place and they have 6 different salsas, I'll
Yeah,
get one of
you're
each.
gonna try all of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're really that guy that's gonna try all of them. You know.
Yeah. Or like at the gelato stand, they had 8 different types of chocolate gelato, and I literally asked to try all of them.
Yeah, yeah. So the tester person would like sample. It's not just food, but it's like different parts of life too, right? But like the food is the easiest example. Like like it could be art too. Like if you're painting, you're like, oh, let's try this paint. Oh, let's try this paint. Let's try this paint. See what happens.
Okay.
There's a lot of like experimental. Even with business, like in marketing, for example, like let's try this marketing campaign. Let's try this marketing campaign. Let's try this marketing campaign. There's like a lot of like experimental things going on. And they're like, okay, let's try to see what happens. Oh, let's try this. Let's see what happened. Like
Oh, right. Yeah, because I'll never like stick to the same. But that's more like OE, I feel like. Like I'll get a different shampoo every time. I never get the same one or different, just.
you think it's OE. I'm OE, but I always get the same shampoo. I always eat the same food. I don't
What?
I don't want a different sauce. I want the same sauce.
What?
Yeah. You see that? It's weird, eh? It's
How is that OE? Because
no,
I want variety. Like I'll never get the same beer. I'll try every single one, hundreds of even if I really like this one beer, I
yeah.
still have to try the 100 other ones.
No, not me, man. No way.
What?
Yeah, it's more like a tester thing. Even IJs, I noticed with IJs, you think they're like, oh, I don't want to try anything new. Nope. The tester IJs, they love to experiment with like. It's
I
so
did not
weird.
know that.
It's
There
weird.
should be a class on that. That's
It's like a
crazy.
it's like a weird paradox. I just discovered it from interviewing so many people, right? I was like, oh, so that's what tester is, because I was like, what the hell's the tester? Like, what the hell's this? Like,
Yeah, it should be taster because you're
yeah, it's
tasting.
just a taster. Yeah, maybe say taster. That's a good one. What about visual? Are you visual? Very visual, like the way you learn. Like you need to see something to learn, or
Yeah. I'm like when I'm taking notes in class, I'll draw it out, and that helps me remember for sure. Yeah.
all right, all right. So I'm gonna have a few rapid fire questions, and we're gonna wrap this interview.
Oh, okay.
Um, First one is feminine TE. How do you experience feminine TE?
I'm not being very rapid. So feminine TE is just really caring about others and wanting to help others, and yeah, I'd say that.
So you don't enforce what's gonna work for the tribe. You kind of just like, oh yeah, whatever works for everyone is fine with me, kind of deal.
Yeah, the only time I ever like force someone, like certain people just I don't know if they're just being so like wishy-washy and annoying, and then I'll be like, you need to work on this. I don't know. That's weird. It's very strange. I don't know. I can't explain. There's a certain type of people that I'm controlling towards, and I don't know why.
Those ENFPs, those NF ENFPs.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I'm joking. So,
Not you. No. I think it's like a double feminine type person that's like more feminine than me, even though I'm double feminine. If
yeah.
that makes sense.
Okay. What about your masculine NE? What's your masculine NE like?
Masculine NE, I think it's just seeing lots of possibilities, but um yeah, and just like getting a lot of enjoyment of like trying different things and like random things, you know. I don't know, maybe that's the double feminine, but that's how I see it.
Gotcha. Now, my last two questions for you is, the first one is, what advice can you give to fellow ESTJs or even ENTJs who's having trouble with their FI? So I can see you're actually you're chipping away at it, which is really great to see. And
Right.
I actually see that you've already made some progress, which is awesome. Like especially with the eating out stuff, eating out by yourself, like taking yourself for a movie and stuff, like those are all like really good stuff. So what
Yeah.
advice to fellow ESTJs and even the ENTJs, your ENTJ cousins, on how to chip away at like that FI, to work on that FI?
Yeah. So, number one is just deciding for yourself and not caring about what the tribe wants or what works for the tribe, and just be like, I really like this, hobby, and I'm going to do it. And I don't care if it bothers anyone, as long as you're not hurting anyone, that's what matters. And just doing it, and then being a little selfish, um, like doing what you enjoy. And maybe it's not even selfish. Like I've heard that too, but it feels selfish, doesn't it?
And then the last question is, do you have any question for me, as someone that is the same function as you, but like completely different order? Um, you know, and like I also have masculine SI and feminine and masculine SI, feminine NE. So those are the only difference between us. So do you have any questions to me about any of those stuff?
Um,
Or being a double decider, I guess.
yeah, so Dave mentioned something about single observers, and just like being like, where the heck did that come from? Or like he would, like, for example, like if something was missing in the house, and like freaking out, like that was there before and now it's not there, and like freaking out about it. Do you do that too? Because he's OI, Xavier, um single observer. So I was curious if OE, single observer, did the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like I lose receipts and stuff, like it's a nightmare. Or like I don't know which email the receipt was in, you know, yeah, this kind of stuff happens to me. I've gotten better now. I have a rudimentary system that I use now. Like I have like a box, all electronics is here. I still freak out because like there's so much electronics in it. I have to like dig through and find it because I don't label anything, right? I just shove it in there. But at least I know it's in that box, you know.
Right.
Or like important receipts. I'll stuff it in a big bin, right? Yeah. Now I still freak out because there's so many receipts I have to like sort through, right? But at least I know it's in that box. So it's crap. Like the system is crap, but it's better than, at least I don't, at least not knowing I had to rip my apartment apart to find the receipt. At least I know it's in like one box, right? So you know, so yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. What about like, are you superstitious, or are you afraid of like ghosts or demons or anything like that?
No, that's the ESFPs that have that.
Okay.
No, I'm not at all, man. But the ESFPs I know are crazy about that stuff.
That's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Xavier, I saying your name right correctly now?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this interview. And we'll wrap this up right now. So thanks again and bye to everyone.
All right. Bye, Kendra.
All right. And we're done.